Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Dugout. I'll be very honest up front that after the World Cup debacle, every day that I was coming to office was a little less motivated. I know there was a series on, and as much as I was excited about looking at these youngsters play, that whole fun out of cricket had kind of vanished. That excitement that we were having every day coming to work during the World Cup had kind of vanished. But today I woke up with a lot of optimism because I knew today is going to be another big day for Indian cricket. I know it's not a World Cup final, it is not a World Cup semi-final, it is none of that. But today is a very important day because today is when we are going to know what the future holds for Indian cricket. It's at a crossroads right now. We've been talking about no ICC trophy for so long. And today the decisions that are going to be taken in the meeting that is happening in a 5-star hotel in New Delhi will tell us what the future holds for Indian cricket. What is the roadmap? What is the road that this Indian team is going to be taking? We are hoping that the team announcements for the series is going to be out very soon. The test, the ODI and the T20 squad is going to be announced very soon. There is various theories and sources, reports, everything is coming out, but we'll refrain from getting into any of that because till such time we get an official confirmation, we shall wait before announcing it. Having said that, we will touch upon the reports and the news items that are coming out. We'll touch upon them, but there are a couple of things that I will tell you which has not been made official, but I can and this is something we knew for a day or so, that is 100% going to happen when the team is going to be announced. One is that Hardik Pandya is not going to be available because we learned he's not fit, so he's not going to be available for the South Africa tour. So which is what that means is that because he was your regular T20 captain, he's not going to be that. So it's going to be interesting as to who the T20 captain is. So that's another interesting thing to work out. But what we're telling you here is that that he's not going to be there. He's not fit. The other thing we can kind of confirm is that you will not see Virat Kohli in the white ball format in the South Africa series. So you will not see him in the T20s. You will not see him in the ODIs. So that's also something that we can pretty much confirm. This is something that you can expect. And the third thing which I can, with a great degree of certainty, I can confirm is that you will also not see Rohit Sharma play the ODI series in South Africa. The ODI series. So these three bits of information, as you will see on your screens as well, there is no question mark or report attached to them. These are three pieces of news item that we were pretty much confirming to you on Sports Today. These three things will happen. What happens to the team? That's something that we will figure out very shortly, because as I said, that meeting is happening or has already happened at a 5-star hotel in New Delhi between Chairman of Selectors Ajit Agarkar, you had the Secretary of the Board and the rest of the selectors. Even Rahul Dravid was here. So all of that is done. Now, what are the speculations?
It's a meeting that started a long way back. I'm hearing it started around 4 o'clock.
4:35 I heard. It doesn't. But what I want to know is, what are the speculations that are happening right now in terms of team selection? Maybe Shane can tell us a couple. Maybe you can tell us a couple.
I mean, there's multiple speculations.
So go ahead.
On one hand, we've heard clear and obvious speculation, and what brought us down also was that Rohit will be leading the side.
Okay.
Now you're saying
first bit of information is Rohit. It's not information. Sorry.
It's not speculation. Speculation that Rohit will be leading the T20 side.
Is that's going around? Okay.
Very much on the grapevine now.
Okay. Is there anything counter to that?
The counter is that he will not be leading the T20
The counter is that he will not be there.
So then this is kite flying at the moment. And see, one of the two is definitely going to be right. That much you know, right? Okay, let me ask you.
We're in a way doing the exit poll for the Indian team right now.
Oh, exit poll. So this is exit poll stage. The results and the final analysis will come with a different video. This is the exit poll. And we'll try to get some of your comments as well. And the first question we are asking, assuming the speculation of Rohit Sharma being the captain in the T20 of the T20 team is correct, okay, what does that tell you?
It tells me that they're going, or they've taken one step forward and now they've taken 2 steps back.
What's the step forward they've taken?
The step forward was when they chose to move away from the senior players after 2022, saying, no, we need a fresh restart. We're going to do that. And for 1 year they did. Now suddenly out of nowhere, panic stations is hit. Or I don't know if it was panic stations, I don't know if it was a real reset, but you're going back to exactly the same status quo that got you nothing. I don't understand it. Very puzzled.
What does that tell you?
Partly what Shane said, that you are undoing everything that you did, let's say, over the last 1 year. Because you didn't T22 edition of the T20 World Cup. Virat Kohli's participation has been just the same, I'd like to believe. So you're almost undoing everything that you did in the last 1 year. The other thing it tells me is, if Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli do happen to play, not Virat maybe the 7th round, because he may be, that's the other bit that's doing the rounds, that perhaps Virat Kohli is not going to be there in the white
that ball. We've confirmed, that we know, that we know that he's asked for rest.
What
so he's not there.
Also tells me is that you're, at the moment, there is some World Cup hangover right now in the Indian dressing room, in the team management, because you're bringing back players who are in good form in the World Cup, and perhaps that's why you've got Rohit Sharma, who finished with around 590 odd runs. He finds himself making a comeback into the Indian side as well. He was officially never out of the T20I setup, but I don't think it's a sheer coincidence that after the World Cup now, you're bringing him back as well now.
If this was to happen, if Rohit was to lead the Indian T20 team, firstly, as Harshit says that there was no official confirmation that he is out of I'd like to disagree, because while I know there was no official confirmation, if he has not played T20 cricket after that T20 World Cup for a number of T20I series after that should have been indication enough that the team has moved on. Then I also heard from good measure that Rohit had said that he does not want to come back to the T20 setup, okay, and he wants the youngsters to take over. That was his chance, that T20 World Cup in Australia. It didn't happen. He wants to move on, and at that moment I thought that was a correct decision. You now go with the young team. This team has tried a few times to win the T20 World Cup. They failed, and at some point you have to draw the line in the sand. Okay, that line has to be drawn in the sand, and then you have to take a decision that no, you have to win. I agree that Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, all of them are legends, but you've tried that approach. It did not work. Now people will throw runs and amount of runs and all that doesn't matter. It's the approach, the intent, and how you play. Now to the other point that Harshit says, that maybe the whole mindset has changed, because obviously Rohit's T20 form had left a lot to be desired, whether it was at the T20 World Cup or even during the IPL. Those are the two areas that we will judge you from, right? Had left a lot to be desired, and so it made sense to move on from him. ODI cricket, without doubt, he is one of your leading players, not just in India but in the world, and he should continue. Ditto for Virat. Virat, I would say, is the best ODI player in the world. Without doubt, he should continue. But the mistake that we were making was confusing the T20 format with ODI format, different approach. And you made that mistake once, you made it twice. Now you have to learn from your mistake. If Indian cricket does not learn from its mistake even for the third time, then God save Indian cricket in their quest to be winning an ICC title. In ODI, I agree they didn't win it, but I think their approach was right, the team was right, everything was right. If the ODI World Cup was to happen in another year's time, I would stick my neck out and say, play the exact team that played this World Cup. Because they are good enough to win the World Cup. They had one bad day, things didn't fall into place, so they lost, but they were still clearly the best team in that World Cup. So this is the right team, play with them, give them another chance. I would say that. T20 cricket, you can't say that, because in the last two T20 World Cups, India weren't clearly the best team. Winning a title or losing is another thing. You are not the best team. And if you're not the best team, what do you do to try and be a best team? Make a few changes. That's what anybody does. If you're not learning from that, then God save you. If you've gone with the ODI performance, then again you're making the same mistake, which you kept making all the time, of mixing formats. And the other reason, I'm giving you a third reason why that could have happened. People might say that, listen, that's because you needed a captain, and Hardik was that captain. Because he's not fit, you go. I would still not do that. if you should pick the person who's a captain who then should be part of your T20 World Cup team. So if Rohit has been picked, then he should be part of the T20 team. We may agree, disagree, whatever, but then he should be. You can't have a stopgap because I don't have a captain now. I'll make Rohit play and then look for him. And if you, as I said, you should have made a team without the seniors, a young team. Of course, your bowlers come back, but in terms of your batting young team, you're looking for a captain. I think Sky is doing a absolutely fine job. You could have continued with that approach as well, even if Hardik was not available. That is what I would have liked to have seen. But we're not passing a judgment now because there is no 100% certainty that is Rohit the T20 captain or not. So we'll wait on that as and when that is announced. But these are just the thoughts we have where Indian cricket stands at the moment. This is a very important decision.
One more thing, you mentioned about mixing formats. They're perhaps doing it with one more player. Sanju Samson, his name is also being
we'll get to it one by one.
His name is also being circulated.
But as I said, we'll get to the bigger bits. So first is Rohit Sharma. That is the one bit of speculation. The other is that KL Rahul is going to captain the ODI team. Am I correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
What does that tell you then?
Again, World Cup impressions still lasting to an extent that you're
But
now.
no, is that right or wrong?
See, Hardik won't be there is again making
No,
you then
is
making you then look for options, and so the next best man maybe perhaps that's just about it.
Actually, I think this is more a case of him like a crown is falling, and it's supposed to fall onto other people's head, but they kind of got moved out for reasons beyond, and he's the third person. Rohit was the de facto ODI captain. There's no talk whatsoever on his ODI's form being judged. So I don't think that's a problem. But he's not playing this series. Hardik is your vice captain.
Yeah.
He's injured. The next in line actually, weirdly enough, does seem to be KL, because I don't think you're going back. Again, Kohli's not playing either.
He's done this in the past, right? He's led the Indian teams in the past. So yeah.
See, I would have been more concerned if he was leading the T20 side.
To me, the biggest news to come out, if this is going to be true, again, we're not confirming that, we're still waiting for the team to come out. That is why I hope, Shashwat, in the supers that we've got, Niche, you've got question marks on certain things. So, the other thing that we're looking at is that if this was to be the case, if KL Rahul is to captain the Indian ODI team, it looks very likely that could be the thing. Also primarily because Hardik is not fit, that we've kind of confirmed is not going to be available. So KL captains, what that tells me is that is the end of Rohit Sharma in ODI cricket. And I think that is something that we'll look at carefully. I'll tell you why. Because if he's being considered for T20I captaincy, right, that means he is available to play cricket, right? But if he's specifically not playing ODI cricket, why would you not have him play ODI cricket? Because as we agreed, that's the format that is better suited to lead. That's the format he's doing better as. You could continue with him, right? If he can be your captain in T20s in South Africa, why not in ODI? I'll tell you why. It is because that could be the end of his ODI thing. Why? Because T20 is a short term, 6-month thing. So even if you've convinced Rohit to continue, it's a 6-month thing. But ODI, what is the next big thing in ODI? A Champions Trophy
And that
in
took 2 years.
2025. So there is a good chance that you look at captaincy in cycles. So I'm not saying that they have decided. We always spoke about whether Rohit is going to be motivated enough, fit enough to be carrying on for another 2 years or 4 years. That was a decision. If he's going to be fit enough and motivated, I think it's a no-brainer. He should be our ODI captain. Should continue. But if he's not going to be our ODI captain, that's a clear indication that he wants to hand over the reins to the next ODI captain for the next big assignment. And you're not going to be giving that next assignment 2 months before that big tournament. You'll have to give it a good, year, 2 year ahead. So if this does happen, if KL is nominated as the ODI captain, That is a big indication. That's why I'm saying today is a big day. It's a big indication of where Indian cricket is heading in different forms. You're going to get a clear idea. T20, as soon as you know who the captain is, you'll get a clear idea whether you're sticking with the youngsters or you're going fresh path or you're sticking with the old formula. If KL is announced the ODI captain, while Rohit is available to play T20 and yet you've gone with KL, it's a clear-cut sign that ODI you've taken a path, a new leader, you're going, whether Hardik comes back later to captain or KL is another thing, but you're going, because it makes no sense if Rohit would be available to play T20s, he would not be playing ODI.
I'm just trying to look at it the other way and just trying to see how they can justify this or what the thinking could be. If there's no Rohit Sharma in ODIs, and perhaps why, just one theory in my mind right now is that, okay, he's playing T20 as if he is, then you're just looking at workload management for some, because these are very short series. The ODIs are also played very close to, close to the heels of each other. There's not a lot of gaps. Perhaps you want a fresh Rohit Sharma for Test cricket, maybe because you're playing Test right towards the end. So this particular tour starts with the T20I. So Rohit plays, and I think in a space of 5 days, you're done with the 3 T20I.
10th to 15th, you're done.
He gets a break for about a week, 8 days, 9 days. Then 26th, you're playing the first Test.
No, so
maybe the idea could be to keep him fresh.
Why?
He's been one of the better batters in Test cricket anyway. Just one of the theories.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that if he is your
And South
ODI
Africa is a
captain
good place to be visiting as well. So
no, if he's your ODI captain going forward, you would.
But you're not looking at ODIs right now. That's why perhaps you're fine. You're perhaps fine looking at a new slate, let's say, and you're looking at, and this new slate right now is now T20I cricket bound now. It's all circling around the T20I cricket or T20I format because you've got the next World Cup in the following year, in 6 months' time rather. So more focus on T20I. Again, as we've seen this whole year as well, what have things taught us? That we're now making teams and playing teams depending on which ICC tournament is up next.
Correct.
That's our approach now. Parallel formats, and again with these reports doing their rounds, it tells you that even more, that you're doing ICC tournament specific planning and not the overall, there's no process per se for that matter, or there's not one straight line that's been drawn and you're sticking to that particular thing.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I know yesterday when we were having all those discussions about Dravid, and we were talking about the tenure of his contract, which truth be told none of us could confirm. Later on, I did see a news report which said, and from a pretty credible source, that his tenure has been extended only till the T20 World Cup, which is bonkers when you think about it, that he's gotten basically a 6-odd month extension. That's it.
No, but by the way, Rahul Dravid has said, and that is on record, so this is not speculation. Rahul Dravid has said that nothing is confirmed yet. I have not signed anything.
Okay.
That is what Rahul Dravid has said, that I have not signed anything. So, wait for the official this thing. But can I tell you what that could have been misinterpreted as? Clearly because he was in a rush and he was asked and he didn't want to speak anything more. I think because the official announcement has been made from the official source, that is the BCCI, officially on mail, that they have made it. Plus, they have got a quote of Rahul Dravid quoting him exactly what he said. So, I don't see how can there be any sort of confusion. I think what Rahul may have been alluding to was the tenure. So, I'm sure he may have been asked what your tenure is like, and he said, I haven't signed anything. He may have verbally agreed to, yes, I'll continue. So, I've not signed anything. So, that is not certain. Whether it is for the T20 till the next T20 World Cup, whether it's for 1 year, whether it's for 2 years, that's not been firmed up. That discussion hasn't happened. But the fact that he continues as coach is pretty much done and dusted. Just two simple things. One, he's given a quote on it by saying he wants to continue. He's on record saying that he wants to continue. And secondly, he was there at the meeting today. If he was done with his stint, he wouldn't be in the planning meeting today where he's selecting what the roadmap for India is going forward. So he's there. So I think the confusion which is being reported now could have been, and for which he would have spoken about, could have been as to how long his tenure is, to which he would have said it's not decided yet because I'm not signed officially. What? It's an agreement that please continue, and he said okay, I will. Then he'll decide whether it's for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever. That I think is the confusion. If you see it some other way, do let us know.
Like in football, they say there's in principle agreement between parties. Maybe that's happened between the BCCI and Rahul Dravid right now. He may not have officially gone ahead or may not have necessarily signed something, but the agreement's there. And just let's say those finer details, duration and everything. Maybe that's to be decided, but...
you know what it reminds me of actually? It's a funny incident that happened in 2022. So Formula 1, there was the mid-season, that summer break which they have. And there's this big breaking news. And it's a chain of events that ended up sparking quite the reaction. Fernando Alonso leaving his team. So Alpine was the team he was leaving. And Alpine had this very talented youngster by the name of Oscar Piastri. He had won F3, F2, back-to-back years, ready for a seat. They promoted him. So they put out a release. You know what the small problem was? That release had no quote of his. So it became a whole storm wherein he basically then put out a tweet saying that I understand that without my consent, Alpine have put out a release saying I'll be racing. This is false. I will not be racing for the next season. It draws back to that. The only big difference there is that press release had no quote from Piastri.
Yeah.
This one has a clear and obvious quote from Dravid. So definitely I think something got lost in translation and now people are getting confused.
Yeah, don't worry, it's continuing. That's a no-brainer. We're telling you in as many words.
Yeah.
It's not speculation. Nothing is continuing. At least till the T20 World Cup. All we do not know, because that's not been decided, and even he is not being told, or that discussion has not happened, of the tenure, of how long it is. That you'll get to know in days to come. So that's the second bit of juicy news. You know, one we spoke about Rohit Sharma, the other KL as captain. The other bit is of no Ajinkya Rahane, no Cheteshwar Pujara for the test squad. Shreyas Iyer coming back, surprises, anything?
See, Pujara is not a big surprise. He wasn't there even in the West Indies tour, and that's pretty telling. Rahane also, I'm not that surprised because I think he was a short-term stopgap for the World Test Championship final. You didn't have a fit Shreyas. And I remember, I think today only we were having this discussion that Saransh was saying that you can, push one of them up the order. Maybe make Shreyas play at 4, then Rahane 5. I said, but the problem is that if you go by the combinations, he's saying because Gill and Rohit will open. I said, but no, Gill is playing at 3 now. Gill is going to be playing in the middle order, which means your openers, at least right now, are Yashasvi Jaiswal and Rohit. Gill 3, Virat 4. That only leaves the 5 spot open.
No, it's a good possibility. I think that you'll have Gill and Rohit go back to opening. I think that was a stopgap. I'm saying with Iyer back.
But then see, if you play Gill at 3
at 4,
Iyer was playing at 5 normally in Test. Remember, in Test he was playing at 5.
Who's number 4 in Test matches?
Virat Kohli, my friend.
Harshit, wake up.
The pain thinner's gotten to him.
Number 4 in Test matches, Virat.
Has been Virat Kohli forever.
Yeah. You could look at another option. Yashasvi was doing well. Maybe
but again, times that Yashasvi is open, Rohit's not been there.
Who?
Rohit.
No.
In
Test he was there.
West Indies. Was
Rohit playing there? Yeah, come on. We were staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. How could you forget?
I'm just forgetting the 11.
It's really gotten to him.
I think so.
So in that sense, yeah, you could, and I think Yashasvi then needs to be continued with. He did well in that time that he got. You got Shreyas Iyer. The other question mark will be over KS Bharat as well. There's a good chance that you look at KL Rahul also coming back could be an option. Remember, he was not
KS
part.
Bharat you moved on from. You gave Ishan Kishan.
He played.
You gave Ishan Kishan the
but he was there part of your test squad, not last time.
Yeah, he was there. I mean, Kishan was the first choice.
I'm just saying that you'll have to look at somebody who comes in now. And KL Rahul definitely now, there's a good chance he comes back into the test squad as a wicketkeeper bat. So
I mean, to be fair, I remember reading, there was this one report doing the rounds, I did a video on it also, is that even KL's comeback to the T20 ISI will hinge on whether or not he keeps wickets for LSG. So they're looking at him at this point purely as a keeper bat, not just a bat.
But, okay, I know that in all likelihood, Sanju Samsung will not be selected. He'll be selected for ODI because this is the
T20 World Cup here.
Yes, so it usually happens like that. But if I was to look at a wicket-keeper bat in T20 cricket, I'd go Sanju Samsung over KL Rahul any day.
So I would have gone for
ODI, I agree, I would have stuck with KL. Test matches also, I think there is merit in, you could probably look at KL if he's ready to keep. And by the way, the advantage in KL is earlier we used to look at him as a makeshift wicketkeeper, but what he showed you at the World Cup, that he's not a makeshift. He's quite a good keeper. Even to spinners, which is a real test of a wicket keeper, he seemed to be very good. So you can actually now look at him as a wicket keeper batter, and that would really make it strong, because up until now you were doing with a Riddhiman Saha, you were doing with KS Bharat because of a Rishabh Pant not being around. So you were looking at those options, but with a KL Rahul and Rishabh's not going to be available immediately even now. So KS Bharat as a wicket keeper batter, not a bad option. I mean, I don't think it's a bad option. It's just that you'll also have Ishan Kishan. You can't drop him. He has to be someone that you probably continue with. But if you ask me, T20 cricket, his KL coming back because of wicket keeping batting skill, I don't think so. If I was to do that, I'd pick, there's Ishan Kishan to do that.
For T20, see, in an ideal world, I would not have any of these three anywhere near the T20 team. But we're going down that route, or at least it appears we're going down that route.
How? There's Ishan Kishan.
No, I'm saying not just with the KL thing. I'm saying you're bringing back all the seniors at this point.
But I'm saying if you want to...
Then he goes back to the bench like the good boy he is. Which is shameful.
Don't. That's what I'm saying. Today's day is very important, guys. So stay on with us. When the team is going to be announced, we will be coming live. At the moment, there are a lot of speculations as to who comes in, who does not come in. Of course, there were reports that Rohit Sharma was being spoken to. He was asked whether he wants to play T20. He wasn't very keen, and then they said, no, we need you. But even if the Indian cricket management is going that way, I'd be very surprised. I would have thought that now you've got, you've tasted, I mean, you didn't taste success in the 2 T20 World Cups that you had, and you got a chairman of selectors precisely for this reason in Ajit Agarkar, who could take those bold calls, right? Who could decide that no, who could tell some of the seniors that no, we want to play a certain format such and such way. And if that is the thing, then I would want that implemented. When is that going to be implemented? Another T20 World Cup?
And what's the point?
Is it worth it?
No, it's not. Because see, either way, and I'll give you a harsh truth, I don't think you were winning the T20 World Cup either which way this year. You were not. I don't think you had the team
for it. Who knows, yeah.
No,
2007 we sent a young team, nobody gave them a chance.
I'm going by conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom suggests you've done a hard reset. You're probably not going to be in contention the first time around, but at least there would have been some tangible progress. Finally, you're moving past that same old, tired, stale anchor batting. You would have been moving past that. Fine, you would have maybe lost, but you would have at least moved past that. Now you're not even doing that. And also, I have to really say this. What is this? And I'm constantly hearing this. As per sources, so we're all used to at this point. It's one word which has been used a lot in the past 2-3 days. Convinced. They're trying to convince Rahul Dravid to take up the coaching again. They're trying to convince Rohit Sharma to take up captaincy. Or crying out loud. What is going on here? So much convincing?
Well, actually, he makes a valid point. Yeah? For Indian cricket, people should be
dying.
Yeah, they should be in a queue, and that's how it used to be.
I'd be dying if I was being offered a promotion.
No, we are not there.
We're small people. I'm just giving the point. Convinced. You come back and
if I give you a box full of chocolates or something also.
No, there's been too many sweets in the past 2 months.
Whatever. This is an example. A box of ice cream, something.
No, third.
Whatever. No, but the point is there. I think it's a valid point.
I know there's one guy for whom
soft drinks
and aerated drinks will work really well.
Yeah, I know. But I know, coming back to the point, I think the point is valid, that this business of trying to convince him, trying to convince this, trying to convince that, I mean, if someone's not really up for it, let it go. Is there a dearth of option?
I mean, do you have that little faith in Sky in T20 eyes? I mean,
that's why they need to sometime learn from football, where like even the biggest coaches, they're not like requested, they're like let go very easily. You don't win a title, bye bye, see you. No matter how big a name you are, you're Jose Mourinho, bye bye, thank you. Go. You are Ancelotti, who even wins the league but cannot win the Champions League, bye bye, thank you.
Ancelotti one time got sacked from Chelsea for finishing second.
Exactly.
He got sacked.
There have been Real Madrid managers in the past who've been sacked despite winning the league, but they've been sacked because they lost to
Del Bosque. He got sacked after winning the Champions League
because they lost to Barcelona both home and away.
Yeah,
but
in this case, to be fair, the grapevine suggests that they had been looking at other options. And they thought that, it's now well documented, they went to Ashish Nehra and he said he didn't want to. Then they thought that they always had it in mind that VVS Lakshman will take over. But then VVS Lakshman himself said that no, he wants to spend time with his family and he's happy doing the NCA role of grooming the young bunch. I think then they were caught in a bit of a soup where at that moment, when you're going to be having a meeting today, picking a team for South Africa and not having a coach would have been a bit of a disaster, right? So then they went to the guy. And to be fair, Rahul Dravid, in that much time, at least this World Cup, you played a WTC final. Yes, you lost a few finals and opinions can be divided. But I guess there were arguments to be made in favor and against him. So it's not too much of a decision that's will get them under criticism or under the scanner that much at the moment. I think there's a decision that it's a safe decision. Most people will take it. Not really disastrous, not really out of the blue. So I think that is what they did. They went with the safer option, and there's no harm. I guess maybe it's also for a Rahul Dravid. I guess in coaches, I'm always of the belief that give them a bit of a longer rope and let's then finally see what they're up to. And I think in Rahul's case, he's had a T20 World Cup or WTC and a World Cup. You won an Asia Cup under him and you were really doing all the right things in the ODI World Cup. So I think there's good enough arguments in favor of Rahul. So not too much there, but I agree with this that convincing and all should not be there. Just players, everyone, Indian cricket calls you, you should jump and take the opportunity.
Well, on one hand, you have
if you get and so sorry for that, but you were giving an example of the coach, and I'll correct it. If tomorrow the Indian team, you're doing well, you're a journalist, you come here, speak everything, they give you a water boy's job, it's the Indian team will say, I'll do it. For my team, I'll do it. I'll be the water boy.
For my team, for my country, sure.
Exactly. Pay me well, that's all.
Yes, I'll be the best paid water boy.
So, I mean, that I think, and there are many options. If somebody is not keen, as it happened with Hardik Pandya's case in Gujarat. They tried to convince him, but they saw that his heart is not there. Gujarat said, okay, go. They had to write. Only then could he leave because he was contracted. But I think that's the smart way to do it. If someone's not keen, doesn't want to, you say, okay, go.
Move past.
सर ये यहाँ पे रख देंगे 2 मिनट के लिए नहीं रख देना हम खुद कर लेंगे अभी लाइव है थैंक यू I mean let's take a few questions.
The squad still hasn't been announced, huh? I'm amazed.
No, we'll come back live as soon as it is. Let's take some questions because I love some of your opinions, Okay, let's take Raj from the US. What's he saying, Shane?
Okay, so he's used some SMS language that's dodgy with me because he's saying we are miming for ATS, going by success of ODIs. We can't appoint Dravid for T20 World Cup. He's of a defensive mind. I mean, okay, I get the last part of what he's saying is that but I don't know, defensive I think is a bit of an unfair tag to give Dravid.
See, I'll tell you one thing, I agree. See, you're judging Rahul Dravid, the coach is Rahul Dravid, the player. So you got to realize that he's two very different people. Now, did you think the Indian team was defensive in this ODI World Cup? They weren't, right? This Indian team, barring that final and how it played out and how the pitch played out and everything, were they defensive? No, I think they were setting the template for everyone to follow. Rohit Sharma, if he was playing that way, while we give credit to Rohit, we should, but it wouldn't have been Rohit Sharma alone that may have decided that, right? The coach would have to have been part and parcel of that decision making. So I don't think that may be the case. Also, you've seen Rahul Dravid, and I've seen him closely when he was coaching the IPL team in Rajasthan as well as Delhi, and I think that there were a lot of criticism that was in a way right also directed at him. But I think that criticism that came his way wasn't that he was a defensive coach or there was anything defensive in the teams that he coached at the time, whether it was Rajasthan, whether it was Delhi. I think the criticism was that they used to make too many changes and they weren't consistent in the way that they were playing. I think that's the criticism that went, which was directed at Rahul Dravid. Not so much as to him being a defensive coach. So I think this is a misconception, primarily because of how Rahul Dravid the player was. But I do not think Rahul Dravid, the coach, is defensive. You could criticize him for other things, maybe.
No, I think Rahul Dravid, the coach, was also guilty of over-experimenting to begin with as well. Remember the number of players that he sort of, brought into the system and was very
That's what
quick.
I said.
So that as well, it was only over the last, 2, 3, 4 months perhaps you could say that you knew, okay, these are now your 11 and this is what your side is. Because at one point, there were changes that were being made to the batting order. There were, players being played. Number 7 was being made to play at number 4 at times. So all those things have also happened over the last couple of years. But then now you know what he, what he really had in mind, let's say. Yeah. And now you see that consistency perhaps. And one of the reasons why you want to persist with Rahul Dravid, I think, is those 10 games at the World Cup. I think have played a big part. Because
Shashwat.
Because that has told you that whatever he was doing, this is how it materializes the way that he always wanted it to, and that's why you need that convincing right now.
Yeah, I
perhaps.
don't think so. Raj has clarified when he said it was a typo. I said we are mixing formats and we cannot go by successor. That I completely agree with you. Which is why I'm saying today, guys, stick on with us through later in the day. When we get to know the team, please be with us. We'll come live for that. Because today the decision that would be taken in terms of a selection is going to tell us a lot of things about the future of Indian cricket. Not just ODI, not just T20, to an extent even Test cricket. So it's right now Indian cricket at a crossroads. They can take multiple paths. Whichever path they take, we'll get to know today, and that will tell us where we are going to be going in the future. But I do agree that we have made this mistake of mixing formats again and again and again. And if you were to do it one more time today, I can't be anything but slightly negative about, the outlook for Indian cricket. Sorry, but.
And that's just the reality. As I said, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You did the hard part after 2022. But now at the first sign of crisis, you're just reverting to type, which is a shame.
Anand Gupta says the way Rohit played in the ODI Cricket World Cup changed himself and his role. He's now perfect to lead India in the T20 Cricket World Cup and play the upcoming T20Is as well.
Wait and watch. Being aggressive in ODIs versus being aggressive in T20Is are two very different matters.
Yeah.
Rohit was one aggressive player here in this T20I team on a consistent basis. In a T20 World Cup, it'll have to be everyone. And is that going to work? He has his style. He's been trying to play aggressive since he took up the captaincy in 2021. It really wasn't working. It's clicked in the ODI World Cup. Is there a guarantee it clicks in the T20 World Cup? I would say no. He's been doing that in the IPL as well, and to be told again, even in the IPL, not convinced. Not convinced.
And more recently, we've seen multiple players not get it right. Look at Surya for that matter, a legend in T20 as struggles in ODIs. Look at Rishabh Pant, by the way. Won you so much in Test cricket, was struggling, just around the time that the accident happened. Somebody, given his ability and the way he plays, his natural instinct, we would say, oh, this is a T20 batter through and through. But his numbers don't suggest the same.
Those are two good examples that he took of a Rishabh as well as a Surya Kumar Yadav. So do not, always try and extrapolate the data that you get in one format to another. And that's exactly the mistake that we've been doing. And I can't see, we're sitting here, right? And you guys watching. End of the day, what is our aim? Like, we all are lovers of the sport firstly. And then in a way, because we're Indians, supporters of Indian cricket team, right? But our job as journalists is to look at things objectively. While we can be fans, we also need to look at it objectively. And even if you're a fan, that's why I often say, being a fan does not mean that I will close my eyes to everything that is going to be wrong with my team. I'll close my eyes to it. That shouldn't be the right way, right? If I am a Manchester United fan and my goalkeeper is messing up again and again, I need to call that out. If I'm going to just be supportive of my goalkeeper without any reason, then it will only harm me in the future. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Very well.
Yeah. So, Oh Nana. That's in a song as well.
Yeah, Rihanna song. What's my name? Oh, no. What's
There is another song.
Okay,
Oh,
now
no,
coming
no,
back,
no,
I'm getting distracted. Coming back to my point. A point being that if you are a well-wisher of a team, then you should not be afraid to call a spade and be critical, because with your criticism, those things will get fixed. Right? If you want something to do well. If you are really indifferent to a team, then you will not voice your opinion. You will say, okay, I'll just sit back. How does it matter? Karne do. Let him play, let this guy play, let that play. How do I care? If that is going to be your attitude, then you will support everything. My point is, because we have seen heartbreaks, and all of us have seen it. I've seen it more closely because I traveled to those World Cups and saw it firsthand in those mistakes that were being made. You kept saying that. For how long will you keep saying, oh, one bad game, one bad half? Can't keep happening like that. You need to fix something at the core. Again, as I said, don't mix format. You tell me that next year is a ODI World Cup, and what should be a ODI World Cup team? I repeat, I will pick the exact team that played this World Cup, because I have faith in them. They are good with it. They're not behind the curve. They are at par. In fact, they are a step ahead of everyone else. I'll even say that. But in ODI, in T20 cricket, we've not seen that for the past few years. Even in the T20 World Cups that you went to, forget T20 World Cups, you went to a T20 Asia Cup, you were not even in the final.
Exactly.
So that suddenly does not change. You got to accept the fact that you're behind the curve in a format and you are ahead of the curve in another format, which is what happens with teams. You saw with England, they're a T20 champion. We saw them how they did in the ODI, right? A big difference. Sir, 2 minute दे देंगे हमारा life खत्म होगा उसके बाद. So, I mean that being the difference. So I do not buy that good in ODI. Someone was good in ODI. But they were good in ODI because different format, different pressures, different way of tackling, different strategies, different approach by the bowlers, different lengths bowled by them. Everything is different. Everything is different.
In fact, if you look at T20 World Cups in isolation, you'll realize that India have been falling behind the curve since 2014. Last time we played the final, 2016, you made it to the semis kicking and screaming. You very nearly got eliminated because you lost to New Zealand, almost lost to Bangladesh. You lost to Bangladesh, your tournament was done because you were in a group of 4. You were doomed. 2 losses out of 3, you were done for. Then the next T20 World Cup was 21. You didn't make it out of the group stage. 22, you made it into the semis, but everyone knew you were the underdogs. And then England shellacked you so bad, it actually...
I like that word.
Shellacking.
So bad that you had to at least for a year, you had to reconsider your strategy. It's like, no, we're behind the curve. It's not good enough. Now you're going back to that.
My only point, what is it going to take for you to wake up to reality? That's my only point.
I mean, you thought...
What is it going to take? Like 1 disaster, not good enough. 2 disasters, not good enough. 3 disasters, not good enough. Like when?
I mean, you thought losing to Pakistan by 10 wickets, 2021, that was the nadir. You thought that was bad. Then you get a false dawn in 2022, reach the semis, and once again thrashed by 10 wickets.
Before that, the Asia Cup.
And the Asia Cup, which
you didn't make the final. Sri Lanka, Pakistan played that T20 final. That's why I tell you, like, again, I give you an example. India, Pakistan play in an ODI. 9 times out of 10, I'm picking India to win. Fair call. Or some may say 8 times out of 10. Whatever. Good try. India's what? Play India. Look at India Pakistan's record in T20s in the recent time. I think even Steven.
It's pretty much even Steven.
So just tells you where you are in one format, where you are in the other format.
And even from even Stephens 2022, you were 2 balls away from losing that match. Lest we forget.
Yeah.
It took 2 freak sixes to turn that match
And that
around.
World Cup, they made the finals.
Exactly. That Pakistan team made the final. So, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. But
no, if you go back, I think in many ways, I think you're trying to test the threshold of pain that people of the country can have.
My threshold is gone, for God's sake.
I'm numb at this point.
It looks like you're in a black hole then, and you don't know how to come out of it. Simple as that.
Of course you know. Every one of you know, I know, he knows, everyone who's watching us knows. Surely if all of us know, the ones that matter will know. They know more cricket than you and I are put together. But they don't, you think?
They don't want to come out of it then.
I mean, see, again, I keep going back to this, but England did a hard reset post 2015. They realized, no, we're behind the red ball curve. 2015, they hard reset. You've never seen a Jimmy Anderson, a Stuart Broad sniff white ball cricket internationally ever again. They never came close. Well, Stuart Broad's retired from cricket at this point. He never played another white ball thereafter. That they didn't have their crises. 4 sixes Stokes was hit for in that T20 World Cup final. 2017 Champions Trophy, they didn't make it to the final despite being hosts. 2019, they just about made it to the final, but once they did, then, well, epic final, whatever you want to say, they won it. But that's the thing, you need to have someone strong-minded there who's going to stick to that. In England's case, they had not just an Owen Morgan, but also someone like an Ashley Giles, who's the director of cricket and very steadfast. He said, no, we're sticking to this. You need someone here. Everyone is flip-flopping. You've had one failure and then you're going on a convincing spree. Oh, Dravid coached the team again. You're trying to convince him. Oh, Rohit coached the captain the T20I team again. I just don't understand it. It's beyond comprehension at this point.
Palaswamy says, when they lost the last T20 World Cup, BCCI sacked the entire selection committee, later appointed the same chief selector. They told that they'll remove all the old players, will appoint new coach for T20, etc. Palash, bang on, brother. But where are we? It's called back to square one. If the team is what we suspect the team is going to be.
Which we still don't know, by the way.
Yeah. So, I agree. Yes, can we take more questions, please? Shashwat, okay, let's say, just hold on. BK Edit says, can we see Ruturaj in test? His batting style suits him. What are your views? He does look very good to me. Technically correct. Outstanding bat. I would love to see him in test cricket. Maybe not now. Maybe in a few years' time. Because test cricket is that one format that I would like to see Rohit and Virat play for as long as possible.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't he part of the squad recently? Some squad. I think he was in the West Indies squad.
May have been.
Because I remember
he did not play a test. So
he didn't play, but I think he was part of the squad. I seem to recall him being named, and there was some consternation. Yeah, there we go. I remember.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Raj says, example of Rahul Dravid's defensive mindset, sending Jadeja ahead of Sky. It was a message to Sky that we don't trust you, and boom, both failed. And sure, but I think you were potentially only viewing Sky as a finisher at that point. Like, we'll make him play 40 balls. That's the extent of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is pretty much the extent of it. I don't think that was defensive. It was also proactive because you actually chose to promote Jadeja, send him up at number 6, maybe to try and break the monotony. You were only playing right-handers at that point because Jadeja was your only left-hander. You've seen them do that before. I'm not so sure that's an idea of them being defensive.
If you heard a sound of a spray, it was me spraying, bringing some that in the films you have that effect. What is that? That fog effect.
Yeah, we're having plenty of that in the capital.
Fog. Kya chal raha hai? Fog chal raha hai.
In our case, it's smog, but sure.
No, it's basically for Harshit, who was just going to collapse anytime. So, put a room freshener here so that he feels much better. Are you feeling better?
Only a tad bit, maybe.
That's the best we can do.
That's the best we can do at this point.
Yeah. Sahil Saxena says, to play fearlessly, should a coach be like Sehwag? Again, as I said, we mix a player versus a coach. So, how you are as a player doesn't necessarily mean you'd be like that as a coach.
Correct.
So, that I think is a misconception. I'll give you an example. You would go with 2011 India winning that World Cup. One of the most fearless teams, right? You had a Sehwag to start with, a Gautam Gambhir would get you runs, Sachin on his day, would get you a lot of runs. You had a Yuvraj Singh, MS Dhoni later. So, you were an aggressive team. And in that World Cup, it wasn't so much your bowling, it was your powerhouse of a batting lineup that you had, which was winning. Because nobody said your defense. But your coach was Gary Kirsten. You guys wouldn't have been born, but I saw Gary Kirsten play a lot of cricket. The first match, that he played on Indian soil also. He was not, he was the most defensive batsman that you would have ever come across. He could spend hours on the pitch. Hours and hours on the pitch.
He was technically sound and that's it.
Yeah, but he was like a wall. He was quite like Dravid. He'd get behind the wall, he'd spend a lot of time, he'd take a few blows, but gritty.
Dogged.
Dogged sort of a batter. That's what he was. But that doesn't mean that's how he was as a coach, right? So, these are just misconceptions that people may have. Just because Brendan McCullum batted like that doesn't make him necessarily a aggressive coach. That's just his coaching style.
Yeah, he's adopted that coaching style.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're looking at it, who's the person who is responsible for Australia winning all those titles? Matthew Mott. And if anyone here can tell me how Matthew Mott was as a player, I'll change my name.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Again, it's not how you are as a player. So
Yeah.
they could then be a lot of aggressive batters with sometimes very defensive coaching techniques that you have.
I think where he comes from is the school of thought, or let's say in recent times who we've seen, Ashish Nehra, let's say he's that chilled out guy we know. As a coach as well, bindas mentality. Maybe that's what you need at times. That's what people think of Virender Sehwag as well.
Or take Lucknow Super Giants for example. You had a Gautam Gambhir and an Andy Flower, both very aggressive. Aggressive players, but what did you criticize them for?
Being weak.
For being defensive on certain occasions.
And who was the captain again?
No, but I'm just saying, so the whole idea of a coach is like this, so this is how, that doesn't,
but on that point, it worked for them.
I'm sorry, being eliminated
like for the
two eliminators is not working anything.
Also
but they struggled, right? When they didn't have KL Rahul, again at the top they struggled.
It's not even the result that I'm looking at. Every team can be successful, a coach can be. I'm saying what were you criticized for being defensive, for being meek on big days.
Yeah.
So while you have the two most aggressive people as coaches, right? Still the team could be like that. And it could also be vice versa. With a defensive coach who could, as I just gave you an example of a Gary Cusser, still have a very aggressive team. And coaching style is very different from your own playing style. Or it could in fact work. You were a defensive player all your life, you could not smack the bowler. So when you become a coach, you said, I will not enjoy. Guys, what I could not do,
you do.
Vicariously, I want to live that. So you guys do like that. Who knows?
And to add to the Lucknow point, you can say, yes, it was only their approach. Because look at half their players. Soilis, Mayers, Krunal Pandya, has he ever been defensive? Krunal Pandya only knows one mode. So they have aggressive players. Mindset of how the team was playing was the problem. And that had nothing to do with the coaches. So I don't know.
RD, very good question. He says real cricket is test and ODI. T20 is a joke. Winning a South Africa test series is greater than winning T20 World Cup. RD, I am in agreement with you. But as much as I do, that's not exactly what people look at. And you and I also, whatever said, and I also appreciate. But if India were to win a ICC title, come on, it's going to be a big day for all of us. Even if it's a T20 World Cup, it'll be a mini Diwali that we'll all celebrate.
What was the bomb that soothed your 2007 ODI World Cup heartbreak?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The first ever World T20.
Yeah.
First ever.
And while I agree with him that once the series starts, the one bit that I'm going to be watching very closely is obviously the test series, because those T20 bilateral T20s, ODIs, I frankly don't care much for.
They don't mean
I'm only interested in seeing the team, so I have an idea where it's going forward, keeping in mind the T20 World Cup. That's what the interest is. But in terms of result, I agree, and especially the heartbreak that India had last time around in that South Africa test series. I'll never forget, you win the first test, then the next two tests you're in winning position both times, and they hats off to South Africa, those chases, both those chases, the second and the third test, outstanding cricket. Dean Elgar, the captain, really stepping up on both those occasions. I remember Temba Bavuma playing some crucial knocks. Then they had that Peterson, that
Alvaro, was it?
No. Technically correct batsman that batted very good.
I think it was Peterson only.
Yeah, Peterson only.
Now, what Peterson I'm trying to remember.
So those performances, outstanding performances. Elgar, I remember. Temba's contribution, I remember. And
Yeah, and this time I think it's a bit of a shame that you're only playing 2 tests.
Yeah.
I don't wanted a 4-test series between these two.
Get rid of ODIs now,
Yeah, who cares about the ODIs?
Play T20, yes, because you're preparing for the T20 World Cup. What's this?
3 T20 series mixed.
But it was a bit of a shame, yeah.
I agree. Minimum 3 tests.
I mean, to be fair, this is in India's terms, this is your final frontier.
Yeah.
You've never won a test series,
Yeah. Having come close twice in recent times.
18 also, by the way, you were seen as fancied favourites. You went and again did badly in the first 2 tests, and it was done and dusted thereafter. 21, 22 was, led the test series, man. Led the test series. So, I don't know. I think even I would appreciate the series win, but 2 test series, really? I don't know. Not a big fan.
Ujjwal says that Shreyas should be a captain in ODIs. Groom a young captain.
And the reason we're reading this comment is because our producer Shaswat is a big Shreyas Iyer fan.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Facts are facts.
Facts are facts. Let's take one or two comments before we wind up. Silly Point says, imagine being a Yashashvi or Ruturaj, you rarely get a chance in the squad, and then all of a sudden you're, a senior comes up and you know, Silly Point, very good point. It's not a silly point, and this is something I want to touch upon, because when we were saying, no, like ODI versus somebody did well in ODI, so should come back in T20s and so on and so forth. My point was exactly that. You get these youngsters playing, and look at the way a Yashashvi and a Ruturaj have been playing. Imagine if they continue this rich vein of form in this entire series. You still have a few games to go, 2 more games to go. They finish with this kind of a form, and then you say no. Now, you sit out.
Like, thanks for your services, kids. Now let the real men play.
While I agree that if you were, let's assume for a fact that a Virat Kohli in Test match and a Rohit Sharma in a Test match team, I think are a must, no brainer, right? If they rested for a few Test matches and a few youngsters got a chance and got runs, and then these two are available to come back, I would still say no, because they have been doing so well in that format consistently and up a notch above anyone. Yes, the youngster has shown us some form and we should look at him in the future, but come the main Test matches, I want Rohit and Virat back, even if they had rested a few more series, because that's how good they are, that's how ahead they are of everyone else in that format. I would want them. Cut to T20s, you give me the same argument, I'm not buying that. Because I'm liking, because in T20 your team has not been that far ahead of everyone else. You've been behind. That team needs to change. And if some youngsters are giving you a preview to what you can expect from a T20 team or what that can do, why would you not hold on to that? That I agree would be unfair, completely unfair for those youngsters also doing well. That's how I see it. Freaking awesome says some handy options for T20 World Cup are Deepak Chahar. I think he's already in the squad. You might get to see him. Tewatia may have fallen a bit back in the. Natarajan also. Sai Sudarshan, Varun Chakravarti, Vijay Shankar, Sanju Samson. Yeah.
Some of his choices are interesting. I like the look of a Sai Sudarshan, but again, maybe give him a little time.
But also right now, he only managed to play consistently for his franchise towards the second half of the tournament.
Exactly.
Yes, he got you those 50s and all as well, but I think there's others around as well, and he's again in the pecking order, not quite there. Is that? But he's been retained, so it's good faith that the franchise has in him.
Yeah, him, Abhinav Manohar, R. Sai Kishore. I think these are youngsters that they're looking to build around GT.
Yeah.
As for Natarajan, I think he's fallen behind. Varun
after
Chakravarti,
those injuries and all, and
he had a pretty middling IPL also. Let's be fair.
IPL. It was good on some days though with his Yorkers, but not setting the stage on fire. Dex says it was Keegan Peterson who scored 100.
Keegan Peterson, yes, Keegan Peterson, yeah. Constantly thinking it was either Kevin or something like that. No, Keegan, fair. Keegan.
Okay then. I think we've taken most of the comments.
Shall we?
Yep. See you. Take care. Thank you for your company. We'll be back live as soon as the team is announced.
Yes, anytime now.
Yeah. For
For
the moment. Bye. Take care. See you soon. Press the bell icon. You'll know as soon as we are live, right? Press the bell icon. You know as soon as the team is out. We're checking. Meanwhile.